Whew, 20 years. 20 years since we recorded an episode.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. It's been 20 years of Halo 2, which, yeah. I did our introductory video. I actually filmed that last night at the last second on November 9th.
So you could get it in under the wire because
Yeah.
shit.
But something I think that we should talk about, because I think you didn't have a long time with the multiplayer of Halo 2. You still got in on the dawn of multiplayer, which like after Halo 2 came Modern Warfare 2 and all that, which changed things even more.
Yeah.
And it just like, and this happens with everything. The really good innovation happens and then it gets corrupted. And then it kind of just changes, like where it's almost like your eyes glaze over kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Halo 2 multiplayer was the holy grail version of here it is, and now it's lost.
I saw, and I guess it has more to do with actual gameplay, but there is something with that. I did see a meme that was Halo Combat Evolved, the peak of gaming of the Halo series. And then Halo 2 comes out. It's all right, but it's not Halo 1. And then Halo 3 comes out and everybody's like, okay, this isn't good, but Halo 2 was the peak of gaming.
Oh.
And then Halo Reach comes out and everybody's like, it's not that good. Halo 3 was, and it keeps progressing to where every game previous was the peak. But 2 was the peak. It was the introduction. I mean, yes, there's been online multiplayer for years before that. There was Quake and other games, I believe, that had online. But this really brought it home. Like
this is the beginning of Xbox Live.
Yes. Because prior to that, there had been an Xbox Live, but it wasn't like this. You wanted to play Halo Combat Evolved online against other people.
Yeah.
There was actually a program and a thing we used called GameSpy.
Yeah.
Where it basically set up a network. It would just put you in games with other people by creating a network over the internet as opposed to just a local area network.
And all those lag issues.
There was some lag issues, but we would run lines from our house across our yard and a creek and blackberry bushes to the neighbor's house and to this house and all our friends' houses.
Oh, yeah.
And we would and at one house would be the main house where Urshel was at, and he'd be like, all right, I'm setting you up. We're all going into a match. Bam. And we'd all be online playing together.
He was like the guy in the chair.
He was the guy in the chair who was Spider-Man's homie. But then when Halo 2 came out, and then like not just red and blue, you had all these colors of teams, and the maps were so built for a great multiplayer experience.
Oh yeah, and not only that, but customizing your name and like your badge and how you looked.
Yes.
And
prior to that, the only time I'd seen that was Perfect Dark, where you could keep your stats on just your console on your copy of the game
on your cartridge. Yeah.
And that was really cool. And you can create your name, and then you'd have like your KDR, things like that.
Yeah. So it's a little bit incorrect to say that multiplayer was changed by Halo 2. Yes and no. Multiplayer online for sure, but like
it was
you're
perfected.
Right. You're right. This here.
Perfected multiplayer.
Yeah. Because GoldenEye, yes, amazing. Split screen, yes. But when you get into where you can have sims, like dark sims,
which we didn't find for years after playing the game.
We found it by accident.
It was horrifying.
We were freaked out.
Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, but it's like taking that level of complexity with multiplayer, putting it online with any random asshole, changed everything. I remember, like, it was. I make us sound so like antiquated. It make us sound old, but like. The way it changed things, I don't know, just like monkeys were like touching the 2001
monolith.
The monolith. It was just like how different it was. I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like somebody nowadays, it's
to somebody even born then.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many people I know that were born like in that range, 2000 to 2005 now, that I've worked with and things like that, to where this is just, it's a given. It's always been, just like video games for us were basically a given, and they've always been.
Yes. Yeah, well, there's a dude that I work with who he's thinking about getting into Halo for the first time. And I think he just turned 20. So he came out, I think right after Halo 2 came out. And so, man.
Well, there's a kid I work with right now. He was born in 2005.
Yeah.
And like you try and talk about things, and he looks at you like an old man, which you are.
Yeah.
And this kid was 4 years after 9/11.
Yeah, it's nuts. And like, and I'm looking at him like I feel like Mike Ehrmantraut.
Yeah.
When I'm talking to him, I'm like, kid, you got to play on original graphics, which I want to talk about Because a lot of people, you look on YouTube for like a reaction to somebody for the first time experiencing Halo 2, and they're playing on anniversary graphics, which
are beautiful.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk about how it literally changes things. Like at first, when they first released it, there was kind of like a teaser. This is from what I've kind of understood peripherally. There was a sort of a teaser for the new game that they were releasing, where the Arbiter was introducing a character to the story. Like you start Halo 2, and there's a cutscene they added in where the Arbiter's saying, "Oh, me and Master Chief, before I called him friend," or whatever. So it's spoiling the whole story before you get into it.
Yeah.
And then he starts telling the story of Halo 2 essentially. Then it cuts into the first cutscene where you see the destroyed Halo, and then you see him on trial.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is this? But not only that, the cutscenes that you get in the anniversary ruin some of the framing and the blocking. Some things are a little better. I won't just pretend like the original is holy and this one isn't. I'm no
You're no Covenant.
yeah. The Great Journey is a lie. But like there's a moment where the Arbiter's being crucified T-Rex, and the thing that they burn him with, it rises up out of the ground right in front of him, and the framing makes it look like it cuts him in half.
Yeah.
But in the other one, it's like it doesn't do that. Like it rises up all weird.
In the anniversary, it rises up weird, or the original?
In the original, it rises up creatively.
Okay.
To show you like it's
cleaving him in half.
It's cleaving him. Yeah. It's almost like Lance of Longinus. It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
There's a moment too where they take his helmet off and throw it to the ground, and you see the Forerunner ship in the background that Truth takes off in later, and it's setting all this stuff up. But the other one's too worried about being like too cinematic, and they're forgetting the storytelling that was in those shots. And there's a moment in the beginning when Lord Hood is like giving them the awards, and then it like does a snap zoom to this guy who's like saying, "Oh, the Covenant are arriving at the end of whatever," but in the other version, it's like it's over his shoulder or something. But the other one is creative in like a snap zoom or whatever. And I'll give a positive for the anniversary when the Gravemind.
The Gravemind.
yeah.
It looks horrendous.
I do and don't. I kind of like the puppety original,
like the Star Wars original.
Yeah, it's great. But like when the Gravemind teleports them, Chief in particular, the way he rolls out of the portal and like spooks the Grunt, and then the way he catches the Needler, really cool. In the anniversary, it's really cool. In the other one, it's a little hard to tell, but they were so rushed to finish the game. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that is half finished.
I know there's a lot of times like where things just aren't loading, like backgrounds or walls and shit.
Yeah. I saw Joseph Staten, the main writer. He wrote Contact Harvest too.
Okay.
He was talking about how that just kind of, I think it happened near the end, right before they shipped, and they didn't have time to fix it. I don't think they realized it before it was shipping. It's just some little thing that they were trying to fix at the end caused that to happen, I guess. Or that's the explanation I think I heard. But when I was playing it on 360, it didn't happen as often as it would happen if I was playing on original hardware, which I did a few months ago. So
I didn't do a replay at all for any of this. You didn't give me the script. I don't know what to say. You don't have your bullet points. I don't have my bullet points. To me, it's what it does when there's a perfect sequel in a movie. It's the Terminator 2.
Yes.
You turn the bad guy to the good guy, and you flip shit on his head. And a lot of times, where it's like Halo Combat Evolved is great story, great game. Yeah. But Halo 2 is so much better. Yeah. And just like Terminator, great movie. Terminator 2, way fucking better.
Expansion of the universe.
It's always good. It's such a cliche to flip and make the bad guy the good guy. Yeah. But it works.
Yeah. Well, and in this one, Last of Us 2 does it in a way. The greatest film of all time, BVS, does it. Like where you take Metropolis is destroyed, the Halo is destroyed. Yeah. And then you see it from the other guy's perspective of it was such a bad thing that happened, such a failure. But the other guy saved the day. So like you're seeing the Arbiter go through his trial for he did what he thought was best, and the parasite happens, and then all this and it's this disillusionment. And it would have been cool to see Chief have like a disillusionment with following orders. I know that's so against his character in certain ways. Yeah. But even like a little bit, but he's so robotically like gotta do it.
The other thing I really like, the Covenant are fucking here. They're at Earth and we're done. It's over. Yeah. And like that doesn't hit as hard when you first play the game, because it's like, oh, of course the Covenant are here, let's fight them, because you don't really understand if you're just playing the games.
Oh, if you're not into this stuff,
you don't read the books, you don't understand that we have hundreds of planets, and they wiped out majority of the fucking planets. There's a couple left by the time they hit Earth, the last known secret in our that we have.
And the whole space defense, like the Cairo, the orbital defense, that's relatively new for Earth too.
They just put it online, and like they had made it better because of how well it did at Reach, but they learned, like, you learn through the books, if they land on your planet, you're basically fucked.
Yeah.
And like they get past your orbital shit, you're fucked. And it's just like the game starts, they're there, you're screwed.
Yep. And what's interesting though is that Truth, Mercy, Regret's the one who shows up at Earth. He didn't know it was the home planet. I don't know if he knew people were gonna be there.
They don't ever seem to know that.
Yeah, and then that's the only reason humanity doesn't die. But Mercy and Truth, I think, knew that, and that they were going to stage a better thing, but he jumped the gun in going there because he was trying to find a way to the other Halos. He was off some probably Forerunner knowledge. Yeah. That's why he went there. And then, I don't know, it's just interesting how detailed it is, but that's not even important. Like, you're literally, okay, Master Chief, defend this station. That's all in the background.
Yeah, we don't care.
You're just following Lord Hood's command.
You're just following orders.
Jetpack elites, I'm going to shoot them or whatever. And like, it's just really neat that like you can go out when you're Cortana's shooting the Mac gun at their ships.
Yeah.
Because she takes control of it. And you go out there to just jump around and like get to the next location. If you're not paying attention, you miss Regret's ship just coming down and just flying past. Because he's on a mission. He's like, okay, I'm not going to deal with these monkeys. I got to go down there and do that thing.
Yeah, because most of the time the Covenant found like Reach or Harvest, like all their big contact points with humans, was like
Harvest.
They were following an artifact that led them to something Forerunner technology or place.
It's like they are on, not to get like goofy here, but there's metaphors in the series. They're on a Grail quest. They're looking for this thing. But they're also deluding themselves. Like, humanity is the key to the Grail.
Yeah, why are they everywhere? These things are supposed to be.
Yep.
Because they're in Contact Harvest, they find out, like, it's how they overthrow the previous High Prophets.
Yes.
Is they find out, humans are supposed to take the mantle of the Forerunners. Well, let's cover that up.
Because they find out they are the Forerunners in a way.
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah, because they're ringing off as, these are Forerunner.
These are the Forerunners.
It's Forerunner artifacts. Oh wait, no, those are people. Those are humans that this is recognizing.
Yeah.
And like, and then they kind of hide it from themselves and dilute themselves.
Well, there's one problem. I don't remember which one it was in that book. Who goes like, I know all the truths and I'm gonna hide it. It might be true.
It was true.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
been a long time since I've read that book.
Yeah.
It's been like 15 years.
And that was written by Joseph Staten.
Yeah.
It was meant to come out before Halo 3, technically. And like, he's trying to double down and say, yes, humans and Forerunners are the same. They may have slightly diverged right when the Wasteland happened, when they set off the rings or whatever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Like, the freaking Guilty Spark says you are Forerunner in the third game.
Look, my shoes are intact. I did not have to eat a shoe over that shitty. The fucking show sucked balls. I'm not even gonna go there.
Joshua, our
off camera, young Joshua,
young
Grettles,
informs us that the Halo show, had some good stuff. There was some disillusionment with Chief. It could have been interesting.
Yeah, he's like, let me totally go off the rails and like bang Cortana or some human Covenant chick. Fuck off.
Yeah, my problem with it though is that's all cool and whatnot.
Episode 1, I'm gonna go against what the UNSC's telling me to do. I'm instantly flipped. Fuck off.
I'm okay with changing things. Obviously, I like BVS.
I'll say it again. I've fucking said it and I'll say it again.
Yeah.
Change the whole fucking story and all the fucking characters. Call it something else. It's not Halo anymore.
That's the problem is that it's such good source material that you can still mess around with within the source material. They could have followed Halo 1. I don't call it Combat Evolved. I think that's a new thing. I don't think anybody we knew called it Combat Evolved.
No, it's Halo. I'm just trying to differentiate here.
Yeah. I don't think anyone. I didn't hear
Star
that
Wars,
until
not
recently.
A New Hope.
Yeah. Anyways, Halo 2, and Halo 3. You can follow those three. You can even have flashbacks to Reach. You can follow all those and still play within.
They
the
David
lines.
Dan the fuck out of this shit again.
I don't know. I think in the right hands, you could really do it. You could put Cavill in that suit.
Star Wars and never show his face, and it's okay. You can put Pedro Pascal in that suit again, and I'm on board.
Joshua brought up the fact that it's like saying it's like when Henry Cavill didn't have the trunks on, the red underwear, or he was okay killing Zod. People freaked out.
Hold on, is he still essentially Superman doing all the Superman-like things?
Exactly.
And being a hero?
Yeah.
He's being Superman. He's not completely different.
Yeah, I know.
100% different.
And I haven't seen enough of the show. I saw one episode, so I cannot.
All the Spartans are wearing different outfits. There's your underwear. Okay, we've already gotten past that. Now, why is everything changed?
Didn't they turn the Flood into just zombies?
I didn't watch it. It was shit. I couldn't get past 2 episodes.
I can't judge it.
Maybe I'm a piece of shit for not giving it a whole run, but when you... Fuck off. Star Wars is Halo. They've unintentionally modeled the Star Wars thing. Like you were saying about like the puppet Gravemind, right? That's original Lucas Star Wars. And then they're like, let's remaster, to where they lose some of the story in remastering and adding in details. And then they keep going so much that they've changed the story, the lore, the characters, and you've got the Acolyte now with the Halo series, Halo TV series.
Which I hear that there was sprinkled in a lot of cool stuff, but for the most part, it was just like, what are you doing?
Pilot on a heap of shit is what I hear.
Yeah.
What I love is...
But people said that about Last of Us too, though.
There was a guy we used to work with.
Yeah.
A ginger fella who's really into Star Wars, and me and his fiance had heard about how bad Acolyte was, but we're still like, yeah, watch it, man, Acolyte. Trying to piss him off, and apparently he was just super pissed.
Well,
anyway,
I was gonna say, you used to work with somebody who, what did they say about Master Chief in the books?
Oh God, that there is, and I'm sure this is all over the internet. People talk about it, but
it's probably a
that
meme.
the suit that you're talking about, that there's a part of their suit that'll give them an old herky jerk to, keep their sexual tension down. And I'm like, I've been reading these books since 2005. He said it was in Fall of Reach, and I've read that book 10 times probably, which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he kept going on about it, and he showed me like online, look, it's supposed to be here, page 125 or whatever it was. So I brought in a first edition of the game or the book. And I'm like, look, here's the page. It's not here. It's not like it's something they put in and took out. It's a meme. It's an online stupid thing, which only started apparently like 8 years ago, like 2016 when people started talking about it.
There's precedent for that though. Like it was on Rogan. They were talking about Spartans, like how they were. Well, I mean, they just did whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
And so that would be interesting if that had been in there.
But there is a thing talking about it in Fall of Reach that part of their augmentation is taking away their sex drive. They're shot. They're fucked because they're augmented before they even hit puberty. Like they're or as they're hitting it.
Again, a difference in the show, I think, right?
And the Impact Gel is KY
jelly.
Okay.
The biofoam. There's a moment in this game I want to flash back to that I just really loved, and it really hit.
Okay.
Chief, stop, repel those borders. If that's the first game, but where it's like you got to stop these guys getting on your orbital.
I don't keep it loaded, son. What?
What?
What? What is it for?
So you can't shoot us in this room.
Does he not have his pipe loaded? What the hell is that?
A lot of times he doesn't have the pipe loaded. He just chews on it.
Oh, that's canon, right?
Yeah.
I forgot. Okay. All right. Never mind. I only have bullet points. I never played Halo.
So there's one spot where I outshine you. I know more about Halo.
It's true.
So, but there's that first door that's going to open and the Covenant are cutting through. And it gives that vibe of Conquer's Bad Fur Day or Saving Private Ryan. Like you're about to storm the beaches of Normandy. And it opens and like always grunts come through.
Little bastards up front, big ones in back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And such like...
Yeah.
That game had a whole different vibe of like, they're at Earth. We're doing this. We're fighting.
Yeah.
And then... I don't remember the name of the Covenant ship, but them and Forward Unto Dawn shooting to go to Delta Halo.
Oh, no. It's in Amberclad.
In Amberclad.
Yeah. And then
Forward Unto Dawn. Oh, my God. Yeah, that's like Halo 4 or something.
It's Halo 3.
Halo 3.
But it's the ship that ends up in Halo 4.
Yeah.
But changed. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, in Amberclad. That's such a good name.
It is. And like, okay, so I just want to talk about this real quick. Number 2 starts taking the universe more serious. The first game, I do not want to down talk the first game. It was brilliant, amazing, awesome. It's just barely under the second game, but the second game is so complex.
Start expanding lore.
Yeah, like the fact that, like, okay, Miranda Keyes is a character. She's an amazing pilot. She has her own ship that is very distinct. It has an important name because it's going to come into play so much in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And she's such an important chess piece. And now Johnson is a main character.
Yes.
This
not just comic relief.
This sassy guy who's just there the whole first game, who should be way dead, and there's book lore to that, but here he is, and he's important, and he's on stage, and he's got one-liners that are like kind of jokey half the time.
Yeah.
But he's also extremely serious, and like essential to the story. It's great. Like Joseph Staten apparently brought up. He's the nerdy guy who wrote Contact Harvest. No offense, but like he went to Jason Jones, the main guy, who wasn't writing the story, Jason Jones, but Joseph Staten was, and he came to him and said, "Look, Johnson's going to be a playable character. He's not going to be a playable character. He's going to be a main character in this one." He's like, "What?" He's like our sidekick guy. You have to have another new sidekick character if you're going to do that.
David
like
Cross.
that takes away some of the fun. And so maybe that is why they have like David Cross in there. They have Laura Prepon. They have Fast and Furious. What's her face from Lost?
Oh, Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah. And so it's like you have familiar voices. Maybe you can register it as a friend. Maybe that's what they were thinking. But like just the fact that like and Lord Hood, who shows up at the beginning and then the end, and on the Arbiter side, he's got the elite Spec Ops guy who's missing the mandible. Like you just have these main characters in Tartarus. He's just like this presence.
Good book lore, getting to like him taking over and becoming like chief of his tribe and stuff too. That was in Contact Harvest.
Yeah. Oh, and he's like a inverse Master Chief because he's a chieftain.
Yeah.
Or whatever, and he's so loyal, but like to a fault. And it's the same. It's like his religion and then the military state religion.
Yeah.
And whatever. But like one of them is clearly a good guy.
With these, it's hard to like. I always want to go off lore, and like I'm always like, book lore is the true lore, but obviously the games have to be,
and they're kind
first,
of fuzzy
because like you get to follow Reach or the game Reach, and you're throwing everything out.
The lore's gone when you get to Reach.
But like the fact that fighting a brute, in game, it's like all right, you could jump in the air and keep jumping over and jumping over them.
But in this.
But in First Strike, they just mangle them. Like the first time they run into them,
it's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, like 3 of them. It's like a 3-on-3, and they lose a Spartan.
Yeah, and they have Linda sniping from like way.
Oh
far
my god!
Away.
Yeah, no, Linda is like they're in this giant Covenant installation. It's the end of the book. The climax, so good. The story between Halo and Halo 2 is an epic game on its own. Even though a lot of it just takes place in a ship talking.
It's like 3 games almost, and it's goofy.
There wouldn't be a lot of missions. You know, it's a lot of more I mean there's some action, but it's more Star Trek than Star Wars.
There is a discrepancy, I believe, if I remember, where they see the Covenant fleet that's going to head to Earth, and so they already know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And they seem to know more, the Covenant seem to know more than they know in Halo 2. So there's some discrepancy.
Yeah, there is a little bit.
But I'm okay-ish with that. But like also I'm like a Puritan where when we get to Reach and it's so different where I'm like, I don't know about if this is exactly canon to me. It's neat, and apparently it's one of the best games, has a good story. But to me, it's like where you have the Star Wars sequels. That to me, it reaches where these are like there's still some good in here, and in like Mandalorian and stuff like that. But like we're not in the text or whatever.
Maybe
it's like a book that got taken out of the New Testament or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe
this doesn't count.
Maybe I'd be more okay with it now that because I've gotten to the point where like, was I entertained? That's all I care about.
Yes. Yeah.
Because like the Obi-Wan series for Star Wars fucks up canon.
Oh, it does.
But I'm like, I was fucking entertained.
I enjoyed every bit of it.
Yeah.
99% of it.
Yeah, 99% of it.
Yeah. But
I'm
I'm
gonna go a little controversial here, though. Even though Halo's been kind of on a downside for a while, the last game wasn't that good. Infinite.
Yeah.
Storyline wise, I'm just like, okay, they had another Death Star. Like, I'm just getting sick of this. Like, there's another.
Which they do perfect in Halo 2, but they're like, that is another Halo.
It felt just like finding the first Halo. Shit.
And it was like Halo 2. There's another Halo.
There's another Halo.
Say what?
So this is what my father found. I thought Halo was some sort of super weapon. It is. If activated, this ring will cause destruction on a galactic scale.
But they did it great.
Yeah.
And you get to have a little bit of fun on Halo as Master Chief, and then we get back into the story of changing back and forth.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna get a little controversial here. You know, like the person they got running Halo now does not seem like a person to run Halo.
Yeah. Well, that was what was cool, from what I understand, in the behind the scenes of the original Halo series from Bungie, is like you had Joseph Staten,
Eric Nyland. Wasn't he involved a bunch?
Not really in the game.
Oh, okay. I thought he was.
He kind of made up a lot of the stuff in the books. He went crazy, and apparently, I think he's responsible for some of the really coolest ideas.
Because they have to use him now.
Yeah, but anyways, Joseph Staten and Marty O'Donnell, the main music and sound recording, and like the guy in charge of all sound and hiring the actors and working with the actors. they kind of seem like not politically different, not religiously different, but like not exactly in the same camp of like worldview and whatnot. But they worked together and made this beautiful game. And the main guy, Jason Jones, they were like the main three. Jason Jones seemed more like a neutral kind of guy who's like, we're just here to make a cool game.
Yeah.
And all three of them together, very different ideals and thoughts in the world. Like they made something that wasn't gonna like put you off in a way. Like the whole second game is Catholicism or statism or belief structures are crazy,
and
the
them down.
The prophets have lied to us.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. Like, and
I'm just worried.
Will the new stuff have that complexity?
I don't think it will, because gaming
I
seems
hope.
to have gone. I always hope things will be good and successful, but it just feels like gaming industry in general has gone towards this like, let's hit the check boxes of like, okay, do we have this kind of character, this kind of thing? So are we telling you a message that aligns with only our ideals and nobody else's, or whatever, and
or
it's not
whatever
about,
the current thing
or
is,
whatever the current thing is, but not making a fucking great game.
Okay, well, I will make an argument that's not against what you're saying.
Demon.
Halo 2 was happening during the
Bush,
the wars, the Bush stuff. Like, it's all in there.
That's true.
It's all in there. And
but we're coming into a time of peace, so Master Chief's just sitting around drinking a Coke. No.
Say what?
But solid game. I remember, like, as this game was coming, it's like, holy shit, there's another Halo coming. And I remember
the hype was real.
The hype was building.
Even though we got into Halo slightly after everyone else.
Oh, ways after most people.
Yeah.
I remember going...
It came out 2001.
Pick up... with my parents, to pick up my brother from one of our cousins' house. And they were just screwing around on, like, the first or second level of Halo. And I guess it's technically the second, you know, once you're actually on Halo and you're moving around.
Yeah.
And they were playing co-op, and they're just using frag grenades and plasma grenades to just blow up a warthog and send it shooting through the air. And I'm like...
It was a sandbox.
I'm like, this looks fucking stupid. And they just kept repeatedly doing that and killing each other and dying, doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, this looks fucking stupid. This is the dumbest fucking game I've ever seen. And then I was at a place called Software Etc., which was like a GameStop. It was mostly PC games. And there was kids that went to our school, but I was in a different town. But there was kids who went to my school were there, and they were looking at a Halo game case. And they're like, Halo's the greatest game ever made, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck you in my head. Like, the game sucks.
Yeah.
And then I spent one night at another one of our cousins' house, and we didn't even play campaign. We played multiplayer, and it just sucked me in. And I think he was already doing the Game Spy thing by then, like almost immediately.
Oh, yeah.
But we played multiplayer,
and it just clicked. You're like, I get it.
Holy shit, I get it. This is Perfect Dark again. But
yeah, the next level.
With the next level.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Trying to use that Duke controller wasn't amazing, but it was amazing.
That's one of the ones I bought when I bought that old school console. They're great.
But then there was this hype coming starting that game, and it was coming out on yours and Joshua's birthday.
On our birthday.
On your birthday.
On the day.
Yeah, and you guys were turning like 12?
14.
14?
Yeah.
Really? 14?
We turned 14, yeah.
Wow, yeah, you were.
I think the night we got it, will you run through what you remember?
Yeah, well, so I remember going and picking it up, and like we were looking at, what do we buy? And I'm like, there's the regular edition, and there's the Steelbook. And I'm like, get that one. That one's obviously better. Let's get the good one. Let's get the good one.
I'm so glad you got that for many reasons, which I'll explain in a minute.
One of my favorite is in the regular edition. The book pamphlet is written from the human's POV.
Yes.
And in the Steelbook, it's written from the Covenant POV.
Which is so this game.
Yeah.
And I hate to bring it up again,
The
but Last of Us 2. Last of Us 2, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
BVS, it's the same thing. It's there's a whole I think it was in somewhere in the Old Testament where somebody's wrestling with God or somebody else is wrestling or fighting with their brother, and it's Cain and Abel. But it's also in Arthur legend. There's these two knights who are dressed in armor that they don't recognize each other, and they fight each other, and one of them wounds the other one severely. And when he figures out who he is, he's like, oh my God, I've harmed my brother, I've harmed myself, I wrestle with myself, or whatever. And that's Halo 2. That's all these things where it's like everyone is the same. We all just see things a little bit different. And those pamphlets are perfect.
Well, like they call what is the name for the Covenant weapons in the Steelbook? It's like divine weapons from the gods, or divine tools from the gods, and the human weapons are listed under primitive implements of war.
Didn't you have an idea for that as a band name?
As a band name, yeah.
I totally forgot about
implements
that
of war
until right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I was just looking through the book, and somebody else is trying to come up with a band name. I'm like, dude, Primitive Implements of War. That just sounds like a metal band.
Can I say one thing about that?
Yeah.
The Steelbook collection version had the extra disc
With the making of.
The making of. And that that kind of thing, because DVDs were becoming huge at the time.
Yes.
And so stuff like that, and that one in particular, really, really just had my little mush brain going of like creativity and wanting to make things, wanting to know how things are made, and watching and wanting to make things, you know?
Jumping onto RPG Maker and not making anything even as close.
Yeah.
I remember the dumbest thing we made on RPG Maker, side story, is you guys were, I don't know why you had a distaste for Frankie Muniz.
Oh, God.
So we created a game in RPG Maker where the character's watching Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
It starts off and he gets up. He's like, I fucking hate Frankie Muniz. I'm going to unalive Frankie Muniz. And he walks and he turns off the TV. And that's just the quest of the game. We never got further than making that.
Just the opening.
The opening of
it's
the game
like
was
it's just like a little, like some
it's
kid's joke.
It's like a 13-year-old kid who's like, I don't like Frankie Muniz for some stupid reason.
I know.
He's got a happy family in life.
I was going to say, the Freud in me is like, it's because he had a good dad. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. But it was just the dumbest thing we ever
is.
made on RPG Maker.
The Colonial Cross is awarded for acts of singular daring and devotion.
Another thing on that making of disc was test your surround sound. And the grunt comes out
Speaker
with
over here?
speaker on this side, speaker on that side, speaker behind you over there,
Yeah.
speaker behind you over there,
And-
center speaker.
Yeah, and then the hunter to test the sound.
The bass.
Subwoofer,
Yeah. That was
Genius.
awesome. But anyways, we got that game. Came your birthday. You know, I mean, we had to get it that day because it was released that day. So I came home,
Yeah.
gave it to you guys. Oh, Halo 2. Blah, blah, blah. All right, yeah, you guys can play for a little bit.
Was this as much of a gift to us as it was for you?
No, we know what it is. It's get Halo 2. That was your guys' thing against Tyler all the time. Was like,
I
what
know.
we get Tyler for his birthday. Let's get him stuff we want.
Yeah, evil little kid activity. But you know, what can you do?
Demon.
We get it home. You guys unwrap it. I don't even know what else you guys got for your birthday. Doesn't matter.
Nothing.
You know.
As far as I can remember, it doesn't matter. We
Got Halo 2. I was
Halo
a
2.
Coke then.
Yeah.
So, popped the game in. Didn't go to multiplayer. We didn't even have internet, I don't think. So playing online wouldn't have been a thing to
We
us.
barely had cable. If we
Yeah.
did, it was because they left it on accidentally.
Yes, we did, but we didn't realize that the internet was left on that whole time too.
What?
Yeah, all we had to do was hook up a modem.
Not that we were smart enough for that. Maybe you and Urshel were.
Urshel definitely was. I probably would have figured it out if I would have known. We easily could have done it. So start playing through the game, and I think we get to like switching over. I mean, just playing. It was like, oh my god. And we had our first like real big screen TV, which was one of those old projection ones on the inside,
yeah.
to where it projects.
It was that one.
Yeah, it was that TV we played it on.
Because I do remember it feeling like scope. Feeling the
Yeah.
scope of the game.
Yeah, because it was this giant TV.
That's why. I'm so glad that was our experience.
Yeah,
With it.
and we're playing it in the living room, and then it was like, okay, it's getting intense. You know, it was all great going through, and then you get to, it was about the time it switched over to you're playing as the Arbiter, and I was like, I got to get up at 6 a.m. or 5:30, whatever it was, to go to school. You guys don't.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, I'm going to sleep. And I went
You're
up
like
to my
these
room.
little sons of bitches.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I don't know why I didn't just skip school. I was in a GED program. I was way ahead of where, actually, no, not at that point in November. I wouldn't have been. But,
See, this is how you win. That's how you got ahead.
dude, easy class. Anyways,
Yeah.
and so I took off upstairs to go to sleep, and you guys kept playing. And I remember coming home from school, and you guys, I don't think you'd beaten the game yet, but you'd gotten really far.
Yeah.
And,
Oh. And you're like, what's going on here?
yeah, like, who the fuck? Some parts that were like, had that old school video game feel of like, oh, it's impossible to beat. Like, because people talk, you think about old Nintendo games, they were like impossible.
You got to find your uncle who knows how to get through this part.
Yeah, like Philip J. Fry, he'd always have his brother get the last
yeah.
on the robot game. Or
Help me
Space
find the
Invader.
whistle to get past this area.
There was the part when you're fighting Tartarus at the end and you got to jump off all these different things. Like, that felt like an old school Nintendo game, like near impossible to complete.
Wait, because he's a monkey and Donkey Kong in the levels of it.
Yeah.
I struggled with that so bad. Not this recent time I just played it, but a few months ago when
Yeah.
I rebought the original Xbox. And I was so frustrated with it.
It's such a hard part.
I got murdered so many times. And I didn't want to cheat and use because there's a cheat where you can get a Banshee in there. And I didn't want to do that. But
Why not?
I wanted to play it real. And then so I was just like, it's going to get killed again. It's so frustrating to have to restart this spot. And then one of the NPCs killed Tartarus where I wasn't watching. And the last cutscene just started. I was like, okay, whatever. It was great. One of my favorites among many is aspects of the game is the novel. Like it feels like you're reading a novel where you're jumping back and forth between point of view.
Yes.
But it's also splitting up the story in the acts. Like here, act 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5. And they are missing the ending because the ending was meant to be you arrive at Earth and you go to the Ark, and the Ark is just a place on Earth. It's not a teleporter or whatever. And you fight truth, you win. Arbiter figures out humans are forerunners, and that's the end. You never meet back up with Cortana. That was just going to be a cliffhanger, I guess. And there was no Halo 3. The beginning cinematic shows you the whole game, basically, because it's jumping back and forth. And the political complications of seeing what the Arbiter's going through, and then seeing Chief being awarded, and it's just like, I'm Soldier Man. It's what they're both their stories are. Yeah. And you get all that. And then you're with Chief when the Cairo station is attacked. You get some cool, fun stuff in to be Chief and remember how to play and all that, whatnot. And then you get down to Earth, and you have 2 sections of Chief there in the old city and then in the metropolis. And you're like, wow, this is really awesome. And then in Amber Clad chases after Regret's ship, and green light to engage. They
flatten the city.
Yeah, and the ending of that is a really good act break. Cut to, it's a point of view shot. It's blurry. You see, is that brute? 2 brutes. Okay. Oh, I'm being carried by brutes. Abby from The Last of Us 2, and you're being carried by these guys to get brought before the prophets. And they're talking about the Arbiters. Become the Arbiter. He turns. What would you have your Arbiter do? Cut to, you're flying back in. We're still at the old Halo site. The giant Covenant city is still there. Okay, this is interesting. Why we're seeing this. And then you get dropped off on the
threshold.
The station there, and you got to go get the heretics. Interesting, cool story. It's kind of like it's foreshadowing the Arbiter. The guy who's so loyal to the cause becoming a heretic, and being open-minded by the end,
which Abby does as well.
Exactly. And we zoom in on it's actually kind of like, if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember all the story beats, but Metal Gear 2 was a kind of like that where you're Raiden for most of it.
Yeah, I don't remember that one really.
But anyways, then you zoom into the Arbiter. You are the Arbiter. You get 2 levels as him, and it's essentially the same where you're like in there doing Arbiter covert spec ops kind of cool stuff. You take out the guy. You get a little question at the end when Tartarus is rough with the Oracle, and he's like, that's the Oracle. So it is. And then cut to, the portal opens up, and the ship goes flying by, and then you see the in Amber Clad, and we're back with the humans.
I think Tartarus knows from Contact Harvest what the real truth is about humans too, and that it's all just about Forerunners and all that shit. Could be wrong. Well, I think he may know.
Maybe not in game canon because
not in game canon.
Okay, because towards the end, he's so like the brutes will guide the prophets through the great journey, not the elites or whatever.
Okay.
The path of truth, this has gone on long enough. Make an example of this bungler.
But anyways, like you're jumping back in with John Halo, and you see Delta Halo for the first time, and then the game says, okay, we know we're dropping a lot of like heavy thoughts and philosophy on you, so we're gonna ODST drop in here with some rock music onto the new Halo, and you're gonna take out some guitar. Covenant. You're gonna get on a tank. You're gonna be in the Warthog again. You're gonna do all this stuff. You can have a ghost if you want, and just like it brings you back to be like, look, we're gonna give you 2 solid levels on a Halo as Master Chief. This is what you wanted.
That's why you paid $50 for this.
Exactly. And then Chief kills one of the prophets, and he gets thrown in the water, and the tentacles grab him, and then they pull him under. This is not your grave, but you are welcome in it. And then, all right, let's get back into the juice. We're back as Arbiter.
This is The Last of Us 2 again.
And what's cool is like the diversion and bringing characters into each other's arcs, which a lot of good stories do this. But like, so Johnson and Miranda are off to the library while Chief is going to kill that guy and get information. They're off to go get the key at the library to make sure no one can turn this thing on.
We know how to do this. We've been here before.
Yeah, she's accessing all the data. She's very smart and very capable of getting it done.
Well, with who her mother is, she should be smart.
But they're sending the Arbiter there at the same time. So he's behind them like a couple rooms almost the whole time he's advancing into here. And then the Flood's there. And the Flood was contained in this place, but growing and growing. And the Flood becomes a main character. here in a way, because once he gets all the way in there and he gets to where they are, Miranda and Johnson are kidnapped along with the key, and the Arbiter's betrayed, and it's like Chief got to kill the Prophet, and he was like, that's like, as far as a soldier, mission accomplished, I did it. And then he died in the action and fell or whatever. Like, he was a full-on soldier, missing in action Spartan there. But the Arbiter, he gets to the thing, and it's like his holy thing is to find the they don't call it the key, they call it, oh no, it is the key, but the humans call it the index. But anyways, it's like this the religious version of it. But he gets betrayed by this like the Roman soldier guys or whatever, who are actually working with the guys at the temple or whatever, and he gets tossed down the thing. I don't know, it's like they are matching each other's story beats, and then but they both have a fall moment, and then they meet this one character who's had the ultimate fall, who's trying to find redemption, is the Gravemind.
Rock and metal and time.
Who he's got a vendetta against everybody, and he wants to use and manipulate everybody. He's been moving these pieces forever. There's like a line where he's like, I've been listening through stone and rock and time.
Rock and metal and time. Make an example of this bungler.
Or whatever. And it's like every word he has rhymes. Yeah. And then he's got all these puppets. He even pulls up one of the oracles for the station, and he has that prophet and whatever. And he's got all these instruments. He's like, okay, go out there, go do some stuff for me. Stop the key from turning. Go mess with the prophets. I'm gonna plan in the background. And in the background, he takes the in Amberclad, because they turned off the barrier to where he was, because they all wanted to get in there and get the index. So now he can leave, and he has that ship. So when everybody goes on to the next part of the story, Chief is now in the part of the story related to what's that ship called? Their main ship. Do you remember the station? The city?
High Charity.
High Charity. How did I forget that?
Bungler.
Chief is now in High Charity, and now the Arbiter's doing what Chief did in the first game, like going to the library and making sure that Halo doesn't get activated. Essentially, they like switched roles kind of, and now the Arbiter's becoming the guy who should be tortured at the beginning. He is the guy who's going against the Great Journey finally, and Chief is going and having this weird political story where like he's following truth through the city or whatever, and the Flood is attacking. So like the Flood shows up in Amberclad and complicates everything. And I don't know, these three guys who were present in the first game, you have Chief, Arbiter, and the Flood, who like they all tried to win and beat Halo 1, but only John Halo beat it and won. But they all survived to like, what is the word where you have to like answer for the stuff that happened in the first game. This is the ultimate version of that, where they're all like, man, we screwed up. Or with Master Chief, I did it and whatever, and he has to do it again. But like everyone kind of joins Chief's side of, we got to stop the Halos from turning or whatever. So I mean, the soldiers are always right or whatever. I guess, or I don't know. Anyways,
they got weapons of mass destruction. I've never seen this Halo activate though.
We have to stop them at all costs.
And if we believe there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty. And we have to destroy him.
They switch again at the end, and then I think they were all supposed to converge again at Earth, but that last level got cut. But it's still a really good weaving of characters and story to the last second. And then Arbiter's literally standing with Johnson and Miranda, and they're all on the same side as the Monitor at the very end. And it's just like, that's a good story. I like that. That's really
They're all standing on the top of an old burnt out nuclear silo.
I love it. I don't know. It's just good storytelling. No, it's like you're reading a novel, in my opinion. It's like,
it's like, like we come back to it again. What we always say about The Last of Us, like, it's like the best piece of media. I don't feel like I'm playing a game, though I'm playing a great game. I feel like I'm watching a great movie.
Yes, exactly. And I saw Joseph Staten said in a clip I had in part 1 of our videos, he's like, it's like you're making a feature film, like 100 hours of, or whatever he said, of cinematics. It's basically a movie with awesome gameplay in the middle or whatever. Like, it elevated games further again. Like, I think The Last of Us, the first one, really did that too. Every now and then there's a game that shows up, and The Last of Us 2 I think is better, but it shows up and just changes it. And this is one of them.
Original Metal Gear.
Original Metal Gear, yeah.
Yeah, Metal Gear did that.
It's only games that we like, not ones other people like.
Yeah.
Demon.
thought they'd never find us. We were wrong.
I will continue my campaign against the humans.
It would probably still fall in my top 10. It's not like movies were like my top 10. It's like 100 movies long.
Yeah.
But it would probably be in my top 10 of favorite games.
For me, because I'm nuts.
You only need a top 3 because you don't play games.
I don't. So this is nuts, but it's Last of Us 2 or Halo 2 to me is best game, and I can't decide which one. Like when I'm playing Halo 2, it's Halo 2. When I'm playing Last of Us 2 and I'm on the boat with Owen, that's my favorite game.
Yeah.
So it just changes.
There are those who said this day would never come. What are they to say now?
We'll come back and I think we should shoot another.
Yeah.
We'll do another episode at some point.
I think so. Talk about this or something else. Halo 3 and how much of a letdown that was. No, I'm just kidding. Halo 3 was all right.
I do think it would be cool if we played a part of Halo 2 and had a video like that. But we'll
know what would be really cool to do?
Yeah.
Is to actually record like a mini LAN party.
Oh, yeah.
To get like me, you, Joshua. I want to get Tanner in on it because Tanner was like the beast. But then he became the beast if it's pistol shotguns only, half shields, and he was unbeatable.
Yeah.
I had the most horrendous story about that I don't feel like I could even tell on here, but I'm going to tell it.
You can tell the censored
Yeah,
version.
Very censored version. We had a cousin who was unbeatable at Halo 2, especially if you did his settings.
Okay.
And there was another kid. This was high school.
Oh, God.
And the one kid said to my cousin, he's like, hey, after he'd already been losing every match, you can't beat him.
I have no memory of it.
And he's a 1v1. You weren't around for this.
Okay.
It was at their house that had a pool. Okay, anyways. And the kid says, who's also not alive anymore. He's dead now. But he said to our cousin, okay, we'll have another match. We'll bet.
I was just going to say real quick, after 20 years, some people aren't alive anymore.
He himself.
Oh, okay. Let's keep going.
So
what a great way to end the video.
So he was like, if I beat you, and they're play to 50 kills on my cousin's settings, even that he's the master at, he said, if I beat you, you have to give me $50. And our cousin's like, okay, what do I get if you win? Or what do I get if I win? And he's like, I will go out there and I will do stuff to that with my mouth. And okay. And like always, it wasn't even fucking close.
Demon.
And this kid proceeds to lose the game, walk out through the yard into the neighbor's field, and grab this horse by the old dinger.
Okay.
And when the horse could not perform, the kid was like, well, I guess I'll just do it another time. And we're like, you didn't even have to do it now. What are you doing?
Oh, God.
Fool. They ordered me to do it.
Okay, so all of a sudden you're probably realizing there's been a hard cut in the edit.
Chief, we're running out of time.
I need a weapon.
I was on a 35-minute rant about I really love all this, and you're like, this guy's.
But see, that's the thing in our
Halo 2.
This is Spartan 117.
Can anyone hear me? Over.
Isolate that signal. Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
That's what makes talking about stuff so fun, because the duality of man.
The duality of man. Like we always said, you're the one to be intellectual and know what you're talking about, and I'm the guy who's just like, He's like, I want to go out there. You see that hunter in that field? I want to grab one of his eels.